At 03:12 local time, deep inside a hardened bunker beneath Al Udeid Air Base, Qatar, a mission controller stared at a blinking cursor and typed a single authorization code. Somewhere over the Persian Gulf, 47 miles west of Bandar Abbas, something woke up. It wasn't a jet. It wasn't a missile. The Iranians had radar coverage of every known flight path. They had shoulder-fired teams on the ridge lines. They had fast attack boats idling near the strait. They had been watching for an F-35. They had been watching for a carrier strike group. They had been watching for exactly the kind of attack they had wargamed 100 times. What came instead didn't show up on any of their screens. No radar cross-section worth tracking. No engine heat signature large enough to trigger a seeker head. No radio emission. Just a shape moving at 340 knots at 500 feet above black water, invisible in every way that Iranian air defense had been trained to see. The MQ-9B SkyGuardian was already inside their kill zone before a single radar operator thought to look up. Phase 1 had started 6 hours earlier aboard the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, operating in the northern Arabian Sea with a full carrier air wing on deck. Flight operations were normal. F-Flash A-18 Hornets cycling through cat shots on routine combat air patrol, an E-2D Hawkeye climbing to altitude, pushing its radar umbrella across 300 miles of airspace, 2 EA-18 Jebblers pre-flighting on the flight deck, electronic warfare pods slung beneath each wing like steel canisters full of invisible fire. The crew had no reason to think tonight was different. But inside the carrier's Combat Information Center, the Battle Watch captain was reading a message that hadn't been passed over any network the Iranians were monitoring. A laser communication relay. No radio signal. No detectable emission. A beam of light from a satellite overhead. The targeting data it carried was simple and catastrophic. An Iranian Shahed Madawi drone carrier, a converted container ship 180 meters long, carrying over 100 suicide drones pre-programmed with GPS waypoints for every major shipping anchorage. In the Gulf of Oman, she was already moving south at 12 knots. Back over the water, the SkyGuardian's sensor operator, sitting in a ground control station at Al Udeid, found the Madawi at 0318. She was running without AIS, no transponder, navigation lights off, trying to look like open ocean. The thermal bloom from her engines gave her away from 12 miles. Think of the SkyGuardian sensor package like a set of eyes that never blink. The Lion X radar can map a ship's deck from 15 miles in weather that grounds every jet in theater. The electro-optical turret reads a whole number at 4 miles in total darkness. And unlike the older Reaper, the SkyGuardian carries anti-ship weapons. Tonight the pylons were loaded with 4 Sea Venom missiles. He called the contact to the Battle Watch captain and held the turret on her center mass while the target package was built. But that wasn't the real problem. 40 miles east, an Iranian Kilo-class submarine had been sitting motionless at periscope depth for 11 hours. The USS Hartford, a Los Angeles-class fast attack submarine, had been tracking her since the previous afternoon. Think of submarine tracking like following someone to a dark house by the sound of their breathing. Every Kilo has a unique acoustic fingerprint. The rhythm of its propeller, the hum of its cooling systems, the tiny mechanical signature of its ballast pump. The Hartford sonar operators had memorized this one completely. She hadn't moved. She hadn't fired. But her torpedo tube outer doors were open. The Hartford's captain held position. Engaging the Kilo without authorization would turn a strike mission into a war in 30 seconds. Hold, track, report. Let the chessboard develop. The situation was about to get worse. At 0331, Iranian radar operators at a shore station on Kashem Island detected an anomaly. Not a contact. A smear at the edge of their longest-range search radar. A ghost that appeared for 2 sweeps and vanished. The watch officer called it sea clutter and logged it. He was wrong. The SkyGuardian had just completed its targeting run and climbed to launch altitude. At 18,000 feet, it leveled off. The sensor operator confirmed weapons-free. The Sea Venom is a precision anti-ship missile built for exactly this kind of engagement. Think of it like a guided knife thrown from 3 miles away that finds its own way to the target without any further input from the aircraft. Active radar seeker, laser terminal guidance, shaped charge warhead. Once it's off the rail, it navigates alone. The sensor operator painted the Madawi's engine room. Rifle. 4 Sea Venoms came off the pylons in pairs. 22 seconds to impact. And then something unexpected happened. The Madawi's crew saw the launch flash reflected on the water. Someone on our bridge made a decision in 3 seconds that was exactly wrong. They activated their defensive radar suite and began transmitting on every emergency frequency available. Every Iranian air defense node on the coast lit up simultaneously. The EA-18G Growlers, circling at 25,000 feet above the carrier group, heard it first. Think of the Growler's jamming pod like a spotlight pointed directly at an enemy's eyes. It floods their radar screens with electronic noise so dense that real contacts vanish into a white fog. Both Growlers rolled in simultaneously. The Madawi's defensive radar went blind. The Sea Venoms hit in 3 impacts over 4 seconds. The fourth struck the drone storage section amidships. Secondary explosions were visible from the Keshem radar station 40 miles away. But the Kilo hadn't moved, and the engagement had just broadcast the general location of every American asset in the northern Gulf. The Kilo's captain now knew approximately where the SkyGuardian had launched from. He knew the Growlers were circling somewhere overhead. A nervous submarine is a dangerous submarine. The Kilo began moving northeast toward deeper water. The Hartford followed at 800 meters. 2 submarines, one Iranian, one American, moving through black water at 200 feet. Neither side wanting to be the one who fired first. Time was running out on that particular ceasefire. High above, the E-2D Hawkeye's radar operator was watching a new development. 4 F-4 Phantoms had scrambled from Bandar Abbas and were climbing southeast at full power, not heading for the SkyGuardian, heading for the Growlers. Take out the electronic warfare aircraft and every blinded radar on the coast reopens. Every surface-to-air missile battery gets its eyes back, and suddenly a carrier group becomes visible to every targeting system Iran has. The battle watch captain called the F-A-18s off the combat air patrol immediately. 2 Hornets turned northwest and pushed to military power. Meanwhile, 200 feet beneath the ocean, the Kilo made its decision. The Hartford sonar operator called it before the weapon left the tube. The transient noise of a launch. 1 torpedo. Wakehoming, chasing the acoustic memory the Hartford had left 30 minutes earlier when she closed to sharpen her track. The Hartford turned hard, increased speed, pulled her own wake away from the weapon's tracking cone. The torpedo ran 4,200 meters, lost the trail, circled once, and detonated against nothing. The shockwave knocked men off their feet. The captain ordered tubes 1 and 2 flooded. Overhead, the Lead Hornet had the F-4s on radar at 40 miles. AIM 120 AMRM at 35 miles. Think of it like throwing a ball that steers itself. Once airborne, it navigates on its own active radar seeker without any further input from the pilot. First missile hit the lead F-4 at 28 miles. The second F-4 broke north toward the coast. The remaining 2 turned back for Bandar Abbas at full power. The Growlers never stopped jamming. The Hartford put 2 Mark 48 torpedoes in the water at 4-4. Kilo attempted a knuckle turn, a hard 90-degree maneuver leaving a bubble of turbulent water as a decoy. Standard counter-torpedo drill. The Mark 48 is designed to defeat that maneuver. Wire guidance lets the Hartford's fire control team steer it around the false return. Both torpedoes hit within 4 seconds of each other. The Kilo went down in 340 feet of water northeast of Keshem Island. By 4:45, the northern Gulf had gone quiet in a way it hadn't been quiet in 11 days. The drone carrier was gone. The Kilo was gone. 2 F-4s were down. Every radar from Keshem to Bandar Lenhish was still white with electronic noise. Iran had spent years preparing for a strike they could see coming. What they never prepared for was the strike that arrived from a direction they weren't watching, carried by a weapon they hadn't tracked, guided by intelligence they never knew had been gathered. The mission hadn't announced itself. It had simply arrived. If you enjoyed this video, watch our next one about the first combat deployment of the Navy's directed energy weapon system in the Persian Gulf.